Hello there. It's day 281 of our chronological Bible reading. So today we have read the book of Matthew from chapter 14 to chapter 16. To those who would like to join our chronological Bible reading, in my YouTube channel and on a video like this one, just look at the description box at the bottom, like so, right? And then you see this one on my shoulder, show more, here. Just click on that one. And then just scroll down a bit and you will see my social media accounts. Right? So here, Truth Insight, right? My Twitter, Truth Insight _ my Instagram, truth.inside, and my Facebook at Truth Insight 2020. On these social media accounts, you will see what book and what chapters to read for the day. Yes. So you will also see a link to join the chronological Bible reading. Just click on it and then you will be directed to install an app on your mobile device or cell phone. The app is called YouVersion Bible. Just install that and then you'll be directed to the chronological Bible reading plan that we have. If you have any questions on how to join and how to install the app, just feel free to comment on any of my videos. So now let's share what we've learned. The book of Matthew chapter 14. So it started with the death of John the Baptist, right? So you can see the title. And then here, later, John's disciples came for his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus what had happened. And then after that, as soon as Jesus heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone. Right? But the crowds heard where he was headed and followed on foot from many towns. Jesus saw the huge crowd as he stepped from the boat, and he had compassion on them and healed their sick. And then, of course, they feed the people, right? So after feeding the people, so immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up into the hills by himself to pray. Night fell while he was there alone. So, take note. So, he wanted to be there to be alone, right? So, up here, so just go back. As soon as Jesus heard the news, right? As soon as Jesus heard the news, he left in a boat to a remote area to be alone, right? And then after that, so they there were so many people, so they fed the people after healing and all that. And then now here, finally, he was alone by himself to pray, right? By himself to pray alone. Okay, so notice Jesus prayed alone. Okay, so praying to our God the Father is really one of the things that Jesus did, right? Okay, let's continue. Um, Verses 24 and to 33. So this one. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In their fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost." Yeah, it's really a scary sight. But you see, so Jesus asked his disciples to go ahead and ride the boat to cross the lake. And then Jesus was left there alone. And then finally, he just walked to go get across the same lake, right? So Jesus came toward them walking on water, right? So remember, Jesus was a man, okay? So that's why. So he had to walk across the lake. So now, continue. But Jesus spoke to them at once. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. So remember, you take note of this, right? So actually, Peter walked on water. He was able to walk, but then he was terrified of the strong wind and the waves. So he became afraid, right? And then Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" So here, uh, Jesus asked Peter why he doubted him, because that's the moment that he doubted the authority of Jesus, right? That he can actually make him walk on water, right? So yeah, so that's why that's Peter had little faith, so he doubted. And then um, let's continue. When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him. "You really are the Son of God," they exclaimed. Okay, so they said, "You really are the Son of God." So now let's go to the next chapter, chapter 15. Let's read verse 1 to 6. Jesus teaches about inner purity. Some Pharisees and teachers of religious law now arrived from Jerusalem to see Jesus. They asked him, why do your disciples disobey our age-old tradition? For they ignore our tradition of ceremonial hand washing before they eat." Okay. Jesus replied, "And why do you, by your traditions, violate the direct commandments of God? For instance, God says, honor your father and mother, and anyone who speaks disrespectfully of father or mother must be put to death. But you say it is all right for people to say to their parents, sorry, I can't help you, for I have vowed to give to God what I would have given to you. In this way, you say they don't need to honor their parents, right? And so you cancel the word of God for the sake of your own tradition. So it is important for us to honor our parents, right? By helping them, right? By helping them. So what is this example? What is the situation here? Sorry, I can't help you. So a person telling his or her parents, for I have vowed to give to God what I would have given to you. So most probably the offering, right? Vowed to give the offering to God, but the parents need food or something. So that this is what they're saying, right? Instead of giving the food to their parents, they're saying this. So this is what Jesus is telling them. We need to honor our parents. Okay? And then let's jump to verse 10. Let's read 10 to 11. Then Jesus called to the crowd to come and hear. Listen, he said, and try to understand. It's not always what goes into your mouth that defiles you. You are defiled by the words that come out of your mouth. Now, the reason he said this is because of what happened here, right? Here, some Pharisees and teachers of religious law now arrived from Jerusalem to see Jesus. They asked him, why do your disciples disobey our age-old tradition, or they ignore our tradition of ceremonial hand washing before they eat, right? So that question, so that's why Jesus said, it's not, so this is what he said, right? It's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you. You are defiled by the words that come out of your mouth. Okay, then let's jump to 15, verse 15 to 20. Right? Then Peter said to Jesus, explain to us the parable that says people aren't defiled by what they eat. Don't you understand yet? Jesus asked. Anything you eat passes through the stomach and then goes into the sewer. But the words you speak come from the heart. That's what defiles you. For from the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, all sexual immorality, theft, lying, and slander. These are what defile you. Eating with unwashed hands will never defile you. So that's what Jesus meant, right? But take note of this. Here, for from the heart come evil thoughts, right? So it is always, everything starts with our thoughts. So the battle between good and evil is real, and it starts with our thoughts. It's between good thoughts and bad thoughts. Now, if you will read the Bible again and again, good thoughts will be coming from the Bible, and then so that's one way of defeating evil thoughts, right? That's one way of having more of the good thoughts and less of the bad thoughts, by reading the Bible every day, again and again, cover to cover, right? So now Let's go to verse 22. 22 here, right? A Gentile woman who lived there came to him, pleading, "Have mercy on me, O Lord, son of David, for my daughter is possessed by a demon that torments her severely." But Jesus gave her no reply, not even a word. Then his disciples urged him to send her away. "Tell her to go away," they said. "She is bothering us with all her begging." Then Jesus said to the woman, "I was sent only to help God's lost sheep, the people of Israel." So because, as you can see here, the woman was a Gentile, right? Gentile woman, so meaning she's not an Israelite, right? And then, but she came and worshipped him, pleading again, "Lord, help me." Jesus responded, "It isn't right to take food from the children and throw it to the dogs." She replied, "That's true, Lord, but even dogs are allowed to eat the scraps that fall beneath their master's table." So her reply is actually being humble, right? And then, "Dear woman," Jesus said to her, "your faith is great. Your request is granted." And her daughter was instantly healed. So that Gentile woman has a great faith, right? And Jesus observed that, and Jesus knows her heart, of course, right? That she actually believed that Jesus can heal her daughter. Okay, so let's proceed to the next chapter, chapter 16, verse 5. Verse 5. So here, the leaders demanded a miraculous sign. Real quickly, one day the Pharisees and Sadducees came to test Jesus, demanding that he showed them a miraculous sign from heaven to prove his authority, right? And then here, later, after they crossed to the other side of the lake, the disciples discovered they had forgotten to bring any bread. There was no bread. "Watch out," Jesus warned them. "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." So he told them this statement because of what the Pharisees and Sadducees were demanding, right? A miraculous sign to prove himself, to prove his authority. At this, they began to argue with each other because they hadn't brought any bread. Jesus knew what they were saying, so he said, "You have so little faith. Why are you arguing with each other about having no bread? Don't you understand even yet? Don't you remember the 5,000 I fed with 5 loaves and the baskets of leftovers you picked up? Or the 4,000 I fed with 7 loaves and the large baskets of leftovers you picked up? Why can't you understand that I'm not talking about bread? So again, I say, beware of the yeast of the Pharisees and Sadducees." Right? So here again, Jesus said to his disciples, "You have so little faith." Right? Why? Because they witnessed, right? They witnessed Jesus producing food for 5,000 people, and then with leftovers, and twice, and another one 4,000 people with leftovers, and now they're worrying that they forgot to bring bread, right? So that's why they have little faith. Imagine, they already witnessed that kind of miracle, still they doubt, right? Still they doubt. So that for us, we really have to hold on our faith, because we believe in God, who is our creator, as described in the Bible. Therefore, we believe that the Bible is true. So everything in the Bible is true, and that's why we have to read the Bible cover to cover, believing it is true, right? That's the faith. And then, of course, in the Bible, we know that it's written there that Jesus is the only Son of our God the Father, who was sent to die for our sins. And then he died and then was buried and rose again in 3 days. Right? It's important. Okay, so let's now move on to verse 13. So Peter's declaration about Jesus. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that the Son of Man is?" "Well," they replied, "some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others say Jeremiah or one of the other prophets." Then he asked them, "But who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "You are blessed, Simon, son of John, because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. You did not learn this from any human being." So take note. So Peter said, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." And then Jesus confirmed it, right? You're blessed, right? Because my Father in heaven has revealed this to you. So Jesus is the only Son of our God, the Father. Okay. And then let's move on to verse 21. Jesus predicts his death. From then on, Jesus began to tell his disciples plainly that it was necessary for him to go to Jerusalem, and that he would suffer many terrible things at the hands of the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of religious law. He would be killed, but on the third day he would be raised from the dead. So he's telling his disciples what will happen already, right? To him. But Peter took him aside and began to reprimand him for saying such things. "Heaven forbid, Lord," he said, "this will never happen to you." And then Jesus turned to Peter and said, "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me. You are seeing these things merely from a human point of view, not from God's." So what happened here? So because Jesus told them that he will die, right? And he will rise again. But you see, dying was the one that emphasized in Peter's mind, right? That's why he said, "Forbid, Lord, heaven forbid, Lord." He said, "This will never happen to you, dying and suffering." But you see, to get away from me, Satan. So we have Jesus emphasized that it has to be a human point of view, right? It is Peter's human point of view because it's an earthly thing, life on earth, right? If you die, that's the end of your life on earth. So it's a human point of view, not from God's. That's why he got disappointed, right? "Get away from me, Satan. You are a dangerous trap to me." Okay? And then finally, let's read this last few verses here, 24 to 27. Then Jesus said to his disciples, "If any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross, and follow me. If you try to hang on to your life, you will lose it. But if you give up your life for my sake, you will save it." And what do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul? For the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of his Father and will judge all people according to their deeds. Right? So this is important. 26 and 27. What do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your soul? Right? Is anything worth more than your soul? So everything here or on earth, we will not carry with us when our life ends, right? And then this one, for the Son of Man will come with his angels in the glory of his Father and will judge all people, not some, all people, according to their deeds. Okay, that's all for today. Hope to see you again next time.